Hi there, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we are taking our image editing skills to the next level by building an advanced image editor using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This editor will include multiple filters, color adjustments, rotations, cropping, image flipping, and much more. Here's what the final result will look like. Our editor will support image upload. Once we select the image, the tool will automatically load the selected image with default size. And below we have multiple options to edit this image and download the same. For editing, we have multiple options on filter. We can increase or decrease the brightness of the selected image, same as we can increase or decrease the contrast, and same as we can increase or decrease the saturations of the selected image. And next to this, we have multiple options to flip the image from current state to horizontal. If I click, it will flip the image from horizontal. If I click, it will get the normal state. And below we have another option. If I click, the tool will flip the image from normal state to vertical. And again I can flip it. Next to this we have a transformations, and below we have a rotate. We can rotate this image from 0 to 360 degree, and again we can reduce to 0 also. And below we have another option to scaling. For this selected image, we can increase the size or decrease the size of the selected image. And now I will go to the crop. Before starting this, I will go to the image. Now we can see the cursor pointer. If I click on start, we'll get the crosshair. With the help of this, user can identify we are going to crop the image with wherever we want. So for this, I'm selecting this image from ear to ear, and if I click on apply, the tool will crop the selected image and will get the particular area here. And below we have a option to download. Once we click, the tool will ask the location to save the edited image. If I click on save, it will download the image into the download folder as we selected the path. If I go to the download folder, here we can see the edited image as same as in our tool. This is what the image we have cutted from our tool. And again we can upload the image, and we can increase the brightness or decrease the brightness, and we can flip, and we can rotate, and we can do whatever we want with the help of our tool. It's perfect for adding more flexibility to your projects. Don't miss out this fun and educational project, and I upload unique project videos every week. Please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to subscribe our channel Rajchandar K and hit that notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Now let's dive into the code. Let's open this advanced image editor project folder in my favorite code editor, Visual Studio Code. Let me know your favorite and why in our comment box below. Inside the directory, I have already created index.html, style.css, and script.js. Inside the index.html, I have already added HTML boilerplate with the help of exclamation mark. Along with this, I have changed the title to Advanced Image Editor by Sharat Chandar. And below, I have linked other two files with the help of link with style.css, with the help of script and script.js. Now inside the body, we need to add the image editor container with the help of div. For that, in Visual Studio Code, we have a embed abbreviation to add the div with class of container. For that, I will use the dot with container. If I hit enter, it will automatically create the div tag with the help of class attribute and then value of container. Inside this, I will add the h1 tag of heading advanced image editor. Next to this h1, I need to add the input type file to upload the image. with the help of input as I said type of file, and I will use the ID for this. For identification of upload, I will use the accept of image with any format. And next to this, I'm going to add the one more element of canvas with ID of canvas. In our previous playlist, we have created many games with the help of this canvas. If you want, I will add the link in the description. Please do check it out. Next to this canvas, I need to add the controls. For that control, I'm going to add one more div of with class value of controls. Inside that, I will add one more div with subcontrol. Inside this subcontrol, I will add the first heading of h3 with filters. For filters, we have the brightness, contrast, and saturations. For that, I will create the label of brightness. For the brightness, I need to add the input control to change the brightness, right? For that, I will use the input type of range. And then I will use the idea of identification to be brightness for this input range, and I can set the minimum of 0 and max of 200. And for this current value I will set for 100. So same for this I will copy and I will use for contrast as well as the saturations. Now I will just rename this brightness to contrast as well as the ID also, and for the next input as saturations, here the idea of saturations, and next subcontrols as with the help of this identification of header I can say crop. Inside this crop we are going to add some buttons with the help of button, and then ID of crop btn, and then value of start crop. Same thing for apply also. I will copy and paste this button to the below, and then I will change the ID as well as the inner text. And along with this, I will have two more buttons to flip the image from horizontal and vertical. For this first button as flip horizontal, and then second button as flip vertical. And I will change the ID also with horizontal and then flip vertical. And here next to this subcontrol I'm going to add one more subcontrol. Inside this I will add the heading of transformations. For this transformation we need to add the rotate and scale as same as this. So I will copy this label and input type next to this transformation. I just paste it and I will change the label to this contrast to rotate and then ID also. For this rotate I will start from 0 and we need to rotate this image to 360 degree, right? For this max I can set for 360. And for the next control, this has scale instead of saturation. I will change to scale and we can set this minimum of 50 and max of 150. And then value of default should be 100. And end of this, I will add one more button to download the edited images. The help of ID and then text as download edited image. That's all for the HTML. Now let us see our HTML file in action. For that in Visual Studio Code, we have a extension called Go Live. In the status bar, once we click, the tool will automatically load our project into the default browser. Here we can see the title of Advanced Image Editor by Sharat Chandar as well as the heading of H1, and this is what the Canva area and this is what the file input, and below we can see the filters, crop and transformations. Now we need to style this. For that I need to jump to the style.css. I have already added the import URL of font family Poppins, and below I have added the global selector of asterisk. With the help of this I will reset the margin to 0px, padding to 0px, and font family as Poppins and secondary font as sans serif, and box sizing should be border box. Now I need to add the styles to the body with the help of element selector name called body. The help of body I will set the background color with blue color, and we'll set the height of 100 VH and we'll set the display to flags. This will help us to align all the content into the center of the screen with the help of justify content center and align item center. We'll set the padding top and bottom to be 1 rem and right and left to be 0. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the changes immediately without refresh. That is how the live server will work. Here we can see the background color of body to be blue color and the content is placed into the center of the screen. Now we'll add the styles to the container with the help of class. For adding the styles to the class, we have another selector of dot with the value of class. For this, I will set the text align to be center and we'll set the background color to white and we'll set the padding inner spacing of 10 px and then border radius to 10 px. We'll set the box shadow to this with the help of 0 2 px 10 px and RGB color of red to 0 green to 0 blue to 0 and all four should be 0.1 and we'll set the max width to of 1000 px and width of 100 percentage. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the container of white color. And next thing, we'll add the styles to this input element with the help of ID. So previously we have added the element selector and then class. Now with the help of ID for adding the styles to the ID, we need to use the hash and then value of that particular element. For this, I will set the width of 100 percentage and will set the text align loss to be center. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the input type is placed into the center of the container. And next thing, we'll add the styles to the canvas with the help of element selector canvas. For this canvas, I will add the margin top to 20 px. This will help us to set the space between input type as well as the canvas. And we'll set the border of 1 px solid and gray color and we'll set the cursor to pointer. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the canvas with border. Next thing, we'll add the styles to the subcontrols to be placed each in a row. For that, I will use these controls. With the help of these controls, we'll set the display to flags and we'll set the align items to be center. And for the subcontrols, I will use these controls and then subcontrols of this element. This will applicable to all the subcontrols it's present into this control. So inside here we have three subcontrols. All the styles what we are going to use here, this will applicable to all these three elements. For these subcontrols, I will add the padding inner spacing of 1 rem and will set the width of 100 percentage and will set the display to grid. This will help us to set all the items into the grid view and will set the align self to flux dot and will set the gap of 10 px. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the subcontrols is placed into the center of the grid. Next thing, we'll add the styles to this button. With the help of button of element selector, we'll set the padding inner spacing of top and bottom 10 px, right and left to be 20 px. We'll set the background color to blue color. We'll set the color of white for this text and we'll remove the border to be none and we'll set the border radius to 5 px. We'll set the cursor to pointer. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the buttons has changed the color as well as the pointer of cursor. Once we over, we need to change the color of this particular button to identify where the user is placed on the cursor. For that, with the help of button and then Over, we'll set the background color of a light blue color comparing to the top. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I over to this button, we'll get the different color. Then user can understand we are overing on this particular button. Here we can see the difference of this particular two areas, right? We can check here the subcontrol as misspelled. So I will copy and I will reuse here. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the subcontrols is in same style for each. How simple is this, right? Now whenever we click on this choose image, if I go and select this image, this should be placed here. That we need to do with JavaScript. For that I need to jump to the script.js. First we'll declare all the declarations. For that I will use the document. Document is an owner of your web page. With the help of this, we can do the DOM manipulations and then event of add event listener, and inside this DOM content loaded, and inside this DOM content loaded I will add all the declarations with the help of const, this const name, and then document dot get element by id. With the help of this get element by id, we'll get that entire element of this particular upload. So we'll check that with the help of console.log of upload input. If I save, if I go to the browser, here in the console, if I hit on F12, we'll get the entire input element of that particular ID. That is how the DOM tree will work. So instead of input, I can go and get this slider. I will use comma. If I place here, if I save, if I go to the browser again, here we can see the input type of file as well as input type of range. That is how the DOM tree will work. Here along with this get element by ID, we have more options on DOM manipulations. If you want, I will add the previous playlist 52 weeks of 52 projects in JavaScript. Please do check it out. And for this canvas, we are added the CTX. With the help of this CTX, we are going to get the get context of 2D. This will help us to load the 2D element of this particular canvas inside this JavaScript. Along with this declaration, I need to add few more with the help of let image equal to new image, and then another let as is cropping equal to false, and we'll set another let of is flipped horizontal equal to false. Another let of is flipped vertical equal to false. And next to this we need to add a few more let with crop start x and crop start y, and then another value of crop width and height. With the help of this declarations, we are going to do the advanced image editor. Once I click on this choose file, we need to place this image inside this canvas. For that I need to add the add event listener of that particular file input. We have already added the declaration of upload image dot add event listener. This is a event. With the help of change, we'll check of this particular function inside this. With the help of console.log, we'll check what this e contains. If I save, if I go to the browser, here if I click on choose file, we can see the console is empty. If I click on any of the file, we'll get the event is fired, and we'll get the target also here. Inside this target, I will go and check for files. Here this is the file. Inside the file we have this lost modification on today, and we can see the file name as well as the size and type and everything. So instead of directly we are getting this we can get for target dot files of array of 0. If I save, if I go to the browser, again I will choose file. Now we'll get that file object here. So this is what the file object with the name of programmer life.jpg, and then size and type as well as the entire details of that particular file. Now once we receive this file, we need to append into this canvas. So for that, instead of console.log, I will save it into one const variable of file equal to this target file, and next to this I will add the const of reader equal to new file reader, and we can add the reader dot read as data URL of that file. Before reading this, we'll set once the reader is on load, we'll get the event here. Inside this event, we'll set the image dot source of event dot target dot result. We'll check what this event dot target result will contains with the help of console dot log. And if I save, if I go to the browser, if I choose the file, if I click here, now we'll get the data URL of this particular image. This is how the image will convert to data URI. With the help of this data URL of data image, we can copy and we can paste it into the image and it will be displayed. Same as this, we need to load into the canvas also. For loading canvas, we need to create one more function of function draw image. Now inside this function, we need to load the image with the help of canvas. For the canvas, we can set the height and width with the help of canvas dot width equal to, we have already loaded the image into this image and we can get the width and height from that selected image. Canvas dot height, for this height also we can get from image dot height, and we need to clear all the canvas with the help of ctx dot clear rect, and we can clear the entire canvas value with the help of x0 and y20, and we'll set the canvas dot width as well as canvas dot height. Every time we'll upload the image, this will get the image width and height from the selected image, as well as this should be clear. And next thing, we'll load this image with the help of draw image, and we have already loaded this source of file with the help of this image, and we'll set the canvas dot width comma canvas dot height. And here we have created this function, but we have not yet initialized, so only it is grayed out. So we need to initialize this once the image is loaded. For this image, we have this image dot onload inbuilt function, and then we'll set the draw image of this particular function. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I choose the file, I will select the image. Here the canvas size is resized, but we can't able to see the image here. For that, before going to that, I will remove this console.log here, and here inside this draw image for this canvas, it will place with x and y axis. So for this, we can set the x and y axis to this with the help of canvas dot width, and we'll set the canvas dot height. If I save again, if I go to the browser, if I choose the image, if I open, still it's not coming. So we need to place with canvas dot divided by 2 and minus of height. If I go on it, choose file, now we can see the canvas is placed the image, but the position is somewhere else. So only I use this canvas width of 0 from starting from this x-axis, and this will go to the y-axis. So before this, I will save this file of this ctx.save. After this image placement, I will restore. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will select the file. If I click, we'll get the image, but the height and place, it was not proper. We'll fix this shortly. For that, we can translate. Before adding the ctx of image, I can add the translate to fix this canvas dot width divided by 2 and canvas dot height divided by 2. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I choose the file, if I select the image, ctx dot translate is not a function. Here I have misspelled translate tr. If I save again, if I go to the browser, if I refresh, if I go and select the choose file, now if I select any of the file, now the translate will taken care and it will fix the image from starting and ending point on inside the canvas. Now we have loaded this image. Next thing, we need to edit this with the help of filters, transformation, or it may be a crop. For all other inputs, I need to add the event listener, right? For that, I will add the event listener of brightness slider. For this brightness slider, we have already added the input area on top. With the help of this, I will add the add event listener, and we are going to add the input, and we are going to mention as some function. For this function, I will use apply edits. This is a common function to use for all other slider methods here. So I will copy here and I will paste it here. As I said, just I will reassign the name of inputs. Second one is contrast, and third one is saturation, and fourth one is rotate, and fifth one is scale. For all this, we have added this as a function. For this, we need to define the function here, the help of function, and then apply edits. Inside this function, we'll get the value of this each input. For that, I will create one const of brightness, and I will check the brightness slider dot value, and I will check console dot log to find what the values is. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will open the console. If I do the brightness, we'll get the value of each move. Same for this, we'll get for contrast. For contrast, we are not giving any value, so it is keeping the same value of this brightness. So I will define same declarations for brightness, contrast, saturations, and rotations. And for the next one is scale. For scale is a special case, and I can use this const scale or slider dot value divided by 100. With the help of this, we can convert this to images from width and height. The next thing will change the scale of this canvas dot width equal to, we have already defined this image dot width multiply by scale, and same for height also. Instead of width, I will change to height here. I will copy and I will paste it here. If I save, if I go to the browser and I will go and pick any of the image. If I do the scaling, we can see the width and height of canvases moving. But the images went right. So we need to fix that with the help of ctx dot restore. If I save, if I go to the browser again, I will choose the file. Again, I will go and do the scale. Still, it is gone. Why? Because we have changed the canvas state here, right? So for that, I need to save this first. Before restore, I will save this as we done in for this display image above. And then we can use the ctx dot translate of canvas dot width divided by 2 and canvas dot height divided by 2, and again we are going to draw the image of the same particular image of what we have changed the width and height. So instead of adding this, I will go and copy this from here, and then I can paste it here. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I choose an image, if I do the scaling, here we can see the scaling of that particular canvas of image. How simple is this, right? The same thing we can do for rotate also. For the rotate, that is very simple, and we can add the ctx dot rotate of this rotate value what we have collected from this value, and we need to multiply with math.py. This is a default value, and we need to divide it by 180. So what this will contain, this will get the rotate of 0, and it will divide it by math.py of value, and it will divide it by 180. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I select the image of same selected edited image, and again I can go and do the scaling also, as well as I can go and do the rotate. So for the rotate, it is pointing to somewhere else, right? We need to fix that. This should rotate into the same space. Why? Because we have rotate before the translate. So I can rotate this after the translate. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I select the same image, now if I do the scaling, we'll get, now if I rotate, and it will translate and rotate into the same center point. How simple is this, right? The next thing, we can add the brightness, contrast, and saturations. For that, simply we can add the ctx dot filter equal to, we are going to add the concatenation of string. We'll add the brightness of this brightness, the same for contrast as well as saturation. This will help us to get the brightness, color as well as the values with the help of this filter. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I select any of the image and if I move the brightness, it is not working. If I do the contrast, this is also not working. Saturation, that is also not working. Why? I will go and check here ptx of filter. Why? Because here we have directly added the value to this brightness. Instead of value, I will add the percentage here, and if I save, if I go to the browser, if I choose the file, and now if I change the brightness, here we can see the brightness of the image as well as the contrast as well as the saturations. How simple is this, right? With the help of canvas, we can do the filters with selected values. Next control, we are going to do this flip horizontal and vertical. For this, we need to create two more event listener of document dot get element by id, and directly I will use this id value of flip horizontal and dot add event listener of click, and inside this click we are going to add the function same for this and same for vertical. So for that I will use this id to change this. Here inside this flip horizontal we have already added two more declarations. We can check if the user is clicking or not. If the user is clicking, we can set this flip horizontal to true. Instead of setting this to true like this, we can add the exclamation mark and we can add the values. So this will help us to find the previous state is true, then this will set to false. And if the previous state is false, this will set to true. Same for flip vertical also. And once we click this again, we need to draw the image. For that, I will call that function of draw image. If I go to this draw image here with the help of this parameter, we are not doing anything, then that will not work, right? For the flip, simply we can check if this is true. If is flip horizontal is true, then we can set the scale of ctx dot scale. I will set the -1 to 1. For the vertical, it will be opposite 1 to -1, and I will change this to flip vertical. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will choose the image. I will hit on flip horizontal. Now this is flipped. You can see the programming live text will be in opposite direction. So again, if I click, this will be true again. Now it will be false. We can do whatever we want. For the flip of vertical also the same. We can flip by scale 1 minus 1. Now we can add the functionality of crop. For this crop button, we have already added the declaration of this crop button of start. So I will add the event listener to this with the help of click and then function. Inside this first we'll change the arrow mark. So here we can see the cursor pointer. Once we click, this should change to cutting the image like crosshair. For that we can simply add the styles to this. For the canvas of style of cursor to be crosshair. If I save, if I go to the browser, now we can see the function pointer. I'm getting the error because the id value is different. So I will change this crop button and I will change this apply and I will change the download button too. If I save, if I go to the browser, now will not get any of the error. Now if I select the image, now we can see the cursor is pointer. If I click on start, we'll get the crosshair. And once we drag and we need to capture and we need to crop the image based on the apply click. Or once we click this crop, we can set the is cropping equal to true. If this is true, then only we need to allow the user to cut. For that, I will add canvas dot add event listener and of mouse down of the function of start crop. Same for mouse up of end crop. For this, we need to create two more function. The help of function keyword and then start crop, and we'll get the event of that and same for this end also. Instead of start, I will change to end here. So inside this, we'll get the event. We'll check what this contains. So dot log of event. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will select the image. Now I will hit down start. Now we'll get the crosshair. If I drag, we can see the mouse event of that particular. It will start from the offset and then offset X and Y of the page. With the help of this offset, we need to play. For this offset only, we have already created few declaration above. For start of crop Y equal to even dot offset X. Same for this Y also. Instead of X and Y, I can set it here. And for other two declaration of width and height, once we drop, we need to get that. For getting that even dot offset X minus, we are already adding this crop start X. We can find the width of this. For same for height also, we can get the crop of height even dot offset Y, and then we can get the offset of Y here. And then we'll set the is cropping is to false. Whenever this is cropping, then only we need to get. Here we can get all the four values, and this all the four values we need to assign to this canvas, right? When we are clicking on apply, for that we are going to create one more add event listener. For that, apply crop button. Inside that of click of function, we can check what this cross value contains. For that, I will copy these values and I will do the console.log here to check all the values. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I select any of the image, and I will start crop, will get the cross arrow, and I will crop was this min, and I will apply. We can get the 57, 26 and 57 and 26. I have started this from here and here. This should be 26 and for Y should be 57. And once we get, we need to get the image of that canvas. And again, we need to change the cursor pointer also. For that, we'll check if crop width and height is there. If these two values is present, I will add one const of cropped image equal to ctx dot get image data. With the help of this image data, we need to place all the values of this xy and width and height. I will use this inside this, and next to this I will add the canvas dot width. We need to redefine this canvas dot width with the help of canvas of crop width what we have cropped, and same for canvas dot height equal to the crop height. And we need to put this image into the ctx of put image data function, and we can pass the cropped image of this above value, and we'll set the dx of 0 and then dy of 0. And then I will reset the canvas dot style of cursor equal to pointer. If I save, if I go to the browser, here I will select the file again of this programmer. I can choose this final image of doing this coding. I will hit the start crop, will get the cross arrow here. I will start cropping from here to here. If I hit on apply, we'll get only this. As simple as this, right? Now once we click download, it will download only this particular image. For that, I need to create one more add event listener for the download. Next to this flip, I will add the download button dot add event listener with the help of click and then function. Inside this, I'm going to create one const of link equal to document dot create element. This will help us to create the element of link with the help of href of a, and we'll add the link dot download equal to edited image. I can mention this as edited image. You can mention whatever as your name, and then link dot href. We are going to give the canvas dot to data URL. This will get this data URL of data contents with the help of this. Once we click of this link, it will ask the location to save this edited image. So I will try that. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will choose an file and I will start cropping any of the image. And if I apply crop, we'll get this particular image. If I click on download, it will ask the edited image image with the folder. So if I click on save, it will download, and here we can see the edited image once it's download. If I click on that download, we'll get the cropped edited image from the download folder. How simple is this, right? So again, I will choose any of the file of the programming life again. I will increase the brightness, or we can decrease the brightness. We can increase or decrease the contrast, saturations. We can rotate wherever we want from 0 to 360, and we can change the size, and we can flip it from horizontal and vertical, and we can crop the image. How flexible is it? I can apply, we can get, and if you want we can download that too. And that's it for today's project. We have built a powerful straightforward image editor using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This project has so many possibilities. Feel free to expand it by adding more filters or options. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel Sarachandar K to watch more web development content. If you are interested in JavaScript projects like this, I have created and added a playlist 52 weeks of 52 projects in JavaScript. Link in the description. Please do check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep coding and keep learning. See you in the next video. Happy coding. Bye for now. Have a nice day.